Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Last we were together, we talked about the show Henry's World, and in this episode, we'll talk about the show Franny's Feet. Just like last time, this video broke it down to a few different categories, such as characters, story, production, and the end of Franny's Feet. So, let's begin.
Let's go
Please don't mind my hair. I went to bed with it wet last night, and when I woke up it was like that. So just try to I don't know, ignore it. This show may seem like it's gonna be weird because it's literally called Franny's Feet and it is centered around her feet, but the show is pretty good, so let's just please push through. It is not foot fetish, I don't think. Franny's Feet is a Canadian television show aimed for preschool kids. The series is produced by Decode Entertainment, Family Channel, Channel 5 Broadcasting Limited, and Core Tunes. The show aired on Family Channel and PBS Kids, and in the UK it aired on 5, Discovery Kids, Playhouse Disney, and Tiny Pop. And for the US, it aired on Sprout as well as PBS Kids. The show itself carried out 3 seasons and 52 episodes, making for 104 segments. Franny's Feet is created by Kathy Moss and Susan Nielsen, and the genre of the show is fantasy and education. The plot of Franny's Feet is that Franny visits her grandfather's shoe repair shop, which is owned in Vancouver. And when a customer comes in wanting repairs, Franny takes the shoes, tries them on, and she goes on little adventures kind of focused around the shoes or what the shoes have gone through, I guess. Now let's meet our characters. Our main character and title holder is Frances Fantuzzi, known as Franny. Her last name Fantuzzi is supposed to be a play on words of fantasy and tootsie. And in the first episode, she says that she only gets called Frances by her mother when her mother wants her right here, right now. So everyone else just calls her Franny. Franny is 5.5 with brown hair and blue eyes. She is voiced by Phoebe McAuley, who maybe you don't recognize her as much, but you might recognize last name because her sister, Bryn McAuley, has voiced a lot of cartoon roles, including Caillou. But Caillou has had a lot of different voice actors, so she's just kind of one of the many. And Bryn McAuley also voiced Harriet in Franklin and Becky in George Shrinks, which are 2 shows we have covered on this channel, so check those out. Franny is as well voiced by Maria Darling in the UK dub version of the show. And Maria Darling is known for her role as V in Chuggington. Franny's grandpa, who is just known as Grandpa throughout the show, is voiced by George Buzza, hopefully I said that right, and Paul Painting, sorry, and voiced by Paul Panting in the UK dub version of the show, who is known for his roles of Peso in Octonauts. Is it Peso or Peso? Peso, that sounds better. Known for his roles as Peso in Octonauts. Grandpa is of Italian descent and owns his own shoe store. We don't know much about his children or Franny's parents for that matter, but we do know that Franny and Grandpa are extremely close, and Franny is there every day while her parents are probably off at work. So those are our 2 main characters. They appear throughout every single episode of the show, and every other character we meet are kind of just people who are there for that one episode, people that Franny meets. We do see Franny and Grandpa in every episode, so they are known as the main characters and reoccurring. Now, let's begin our analysis off with the theme song. And we are not singing it. One step at a time, who could suppose what together we'll find? With every pair of shoes that we try, we'll have a new adventure, you and I. Where will my feet take me today? Nobody knows for sure. We come for a walk, I'll lead the way. places never seen before. The garbage truck is outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that. The first episode of Franny's Feet is titled Wonderful Woolies, and the second segment is called A Home for Herman, but we're only going to focus on the first segment. The episode begins with a shot of Grandpa's workshop, and inside, Franny is playing with a toy truck. We follow her to see her grandpa, who is working on a shoe. He picks up another shoe, which is missing a buckle, and Franny just really wants to help him, so she offers to polish it for him and to look for shoe buckles, but he already has a buckle for the shoe. This makes Franny pretty upset because she just wants to help her grandfather with his busy store. He keeps saying no. The door opens, ringing a bell overhead to signal that a customer has arrived. Franny grabs her stool as the customer puts their dirty boots on the counter, saying his boots sprung a leak and that they are muddy. Grandpa tells Franny to put the shoes in the fix-it box, which she does, but before she actually puts them inside, she tries them on. The shoes take her to a wool farm where she meets a sheep named Walter, who offers to show her around the farm. The two go into the barn and they meet like a variety of characters who are in the barn, such as Miss Farmer Wigglepuff, who is milking a cow named Petal, a singing rooster named Leonard, a hen named Bobby Jean, and then finally she sees Mr. Wigglepuff knitting on the porch with the wool from the sheep. Walter drops some lore on their town about a fair that happens every year and that Mr. Wigglepuff enters every year, but he loses every year. Walter then takes Franny over to watch the sheep getting sheared, and she learns that they take that wool from the sheep and make it into yarn for Mr. Wigglepuff to knit. Walter, however, does not get sheared, and that makes him very sad. He tells Franny that he isn't woolly enough for them to want to shear him, and that he feels very useless on the farm without having a job, because Petal the cow gets milked for the family to drink milk, Leonard the rooster wakes him up every day, and Bobby Jean the hen lays eggs, and Walter does nothing. Franny decides to help him, first by giving him a bubble bath. She tells him that when her hair gets flat, her mother gives her hair a nice bubbly shampoo. He shakes it off, and his wool does puff up, meaning that he is technically woolly enough. However, a harsh wind comes and puts him right back down to how he was. Franny's second idea is to use hair curlers in his wool, saying that her mother uses them when she wants her hair big and poofy. When she takes them out, Walter kind of feels stiff, so it does not work. Mr. Wigglepuff finishes knitting his sweater, but he says that something feels off, like he's missing something important for the sweater. Franny knows that Walter has super soft wool. Even if he doesn't have fluffy wool, it is very soft. So after shearing it off and incorporating it into a matching hat for the sweater, the Wigglepuffs win first place. Franny says her goodbyes and she heads home. When she takes off the boots, inside is a ball of yarn from the farm. She puts the boots in the bin and she takes her treasure into her treasure box. This shoebox holds her own treasures from every place she's been to, so every time she tries on a shoe and she goes there, she always gets something back that kind of will make her remember her trip there. Franny and Grandpa decide to go have a snack before her parents come to get her, and Franny learns that her job at the shoe store is to take the shoes to the fix-it box for her grandpa, and although it isn't a big job to her, it is very important for Grandpa. At the end of the episode, she says, "Where will my feet take me tomorrow?" After the episode, I was scrolling through like what people think about Franny's feet, just kind of what I usually do. And I came across like a Reddit post, because I'm always on Reddit, by the way. Like, I don't post, I just like to read on there. And this post stuck out to me because I was like, this is crazy. but it makes sense to me. A user on Reddit compared the show Franny's Feet to shifting. Now, if you don't know what shifting is, it was a TikTok phenomenon that became really popular in 2020, like during COVID. You might have recognized it, but people shifting to Hogwarts. Yeah. Now, shifting is a theory of moving your consciousness to another reality, kind of similar to your own. It's like a theory that there is other realities that you can go to, I guess. Like, every reality exists. I don't really know how to explain it. My best examples would be to like search up shifting on TikTok. You'll see a lot of Harry Potter, anime, like you can just go there. Not making fun, by the way, not making fun, because I did it too. It was really big during COVID, and I still see posts about it because I used to be pretty big into it. But over time, a lot of like the big influencers of the shifting community have came out to say that they have faked their experience with it. So that's crazy. Back to the Reddit post though, the user says that she uses her shoes as some kind of shifting method, which I didn't know was possible. Because when I used to do shifting, it was like you lay on your back, you count to 100, and like your body would feel really weird and tingly, which it does, but like then I would fall asleep and I would get sleep paralysis. There are a bunch of other methods you can do, but that's just the only one I ever did, and I got sleep paralysis twice from doing it back in my day. Anyway, no one really responds to the user with like what they think about that whole shifting Franny's Feet thing. Personally, I think the theory is kind of funny. Maybe because I loved shifting content back in my day. I say that as if I don't like look at shifting content all the time. There was no explanation to why Franny's Feet ended, but it could have been from a lot of different reasons. And one of the big reasons I see with these kind of shows for like them ending wise is mostly because like they had failure to compete with other children's shows at the time. With new children's shows coming out every day, children focus on them more because they're new, or they tell a good story, or they're really colorful. And programs will show the newer children's shows more often because they are new. And shows like Franny's Feet or like Henry's World, those kind of get pushed further and further back until we enter the graveyard zone of television. Which, if you don't know what the graveyard zone is, it's basically where shows are coming to like their end of streaming on the broadcast. They get pushed further and further back, kind of between like, I'd say like 11 p.m. to like 3 a.m. That's kind of like the graveyard zone of television. It's really late, no one's really awake to watch them, they're just kind of there. For me, Franny's Feet, I used to think was kind of like an in-between series kind of thing. For example, when I was up late at night waiting for shows like JoJo's Circus or The Big Comfy Couch, if it was like this show is playing and this show is playing and these are commercials, Franny's Feet was kind of like right in the middle of that, if that makes sense. It wasn't a long show. The episodes are not very long. So I literally thought they were like commercials because these shows, okay, we're gonna try and have like an example here. A show right here, okay? This is the commercials. This is another show. So this show is just ending. This show is about to begin. These are the commercials. And kind of like in between, there would be shorter shows. What the heck? My dad just said retrying the airport. I'm not going anywhere. There'd be like kind of in between shows. Another good example about this is like, there's a show I'm planning to cover. It's called Tasty Time with Z Franck. And that would be like in between. And so is Franny's Feet. It's not a long enough show to be considered one of these, but it's in between commercials and the bigger shows. I hope that makes sense. The final episode of Franny's Feet aired October 31st, 2010. I was 5 years old, and it was titled Halloween Harvest, with the beginning segment being called Going Ape. However, I could not find this episode. There's a a channel on YouTube called Franny's Feet Wild Brain, and it says that they have every episode. And maybe I'm just stupid, but I could not find this episode. I even looked on my website and I could not find Franny's Feet for one on there, but I could not find this episode. But you could probably guess it's a Halloween episode. Hi, so this is me editing right now to update and say that I did find a place to watch the Halloween Harvest episode on this website called Daily Motion. So I'll just kind of give a rundown of what the episode was. I'm not going to put the episode itself in this video because it's kind of like weirdly recorded, and plus the audio is bad, and there's an ad every single minute, no joke. So basically the episode is that Franny, she doesn't know what to do for Halloween, she doesn't know what to dress up as. A guy comes in from working on a farm all summer, and his shoes are not ready for winter. He needs them redone, redid. And so the shoes take Franny to like a fun fair kind of thing where she meets a girl named, oh god, I don't remember her name. She meets a girl and she like makes sunflowers. I guess like her family does sunflower stuff, and she's not allowed to go to the costume party later on because there's crows eating all these sunflowers. So Franny's objective this episode is to help this girl go to the costume contest, and along the way figure out what she wants to be for Halloween. All the sources I use will be linked in the description below. Let me know if you enjoyed this, and let me know any other shows you guys want me to cover. I have gotten suggestions from you guys already. I'm adding them to my list. I have a very, very long list of all shows I want to cover. But like I said, I'm hopefully posting once a week now, so we will get to them eventually. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Bye!